Virginia Democrats running for Attorney General have their first debate. I'm Nick Einelli.
Will a federal appeals court overturn Ocean City's ban on topless women in public? I'm Ken Duffy.
Good morning and welcome in. It's 6 o'clock.
This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by Dell Small Business.
I'm Deborah Rodriguez. The number of new COVID cases in the U.S. is declining. Pre-pandemic life has begun to make a comeback, but virus variants threaten to stop the progress. The hope, studies that find Pfizer's shot protects against severe disease from 2 of them. And that's not all.
Moderna says there are promising results from a booster shot it's testing. In human trials now underway, patients received either a 3rd shot of the existing Moderna vaccine or an experimental vaccine designed to protect against the more contagious South African strain. Patients in both groups saw increased immunity. Health officials have long indicated booster shots might be needed. Steve Futterman, CBS News.
Drug manufacturers aren't happy with the Biden administration, which is supporting a controversial plan to waive intellectual protections for COVID vaccines. Proponents say it'll speed up shots to other parts of the world, like India, crushed by the number of skyrocketing cases. Republican Liz Cheney could lose her leadership position in the House next week over her continued criticism of former President Trump. The Congresswoman is speaking out in an essay in the Washington Post. Correspondent Nancy Cordes.
In that op-ed, she says Republicans need to stand for genuinely conservative principles and steer away from the dangerous and anti-democratic Trump cult of personality. But many of her colleagues believe they're going to need his base and his fundraising ability come 2022.
A white police officer who was fired right after he shot and killed a black man, Rayshard Brooks, in the parking lot of a Wendy's last June, is back on the force. Former Nashville and New Orleans Police Chief Ron Serpis supports the Civil Service Board's ruling.
Why make a sophomore mistake like this to then have it turn into more pain and suffering for everyone involved?
The board said Officer Garrett Rolfe was denied due process. He's been placed on desk duty. In Rome, a jury has found 2 young men from California guilty of killing an Italian police officer in a drug sting gone bad. Sabina Castelfranco is in Rome.
The defendants had claimed self-defense, saying they thought the policemen who had asked them for identification were thugs, as they were not in uniform. The defense lawyers have said they will appeal the court's decision.
Starship success. It took 5 tries and 4 misses, but SpaceX finally launched a test rocket that came back to Earth intact in South Texas. Elon Musk hopes to send starships to the moon and Mars one day. S&P futures up 2. This is CBS News.
Small Business Month this year, and Dell Technologies and Windows can help you upgrade your tech with up to 45% off high-performance PCs. Work anywhere with Windows 10 Pro. Call 877-ASK-DELL.
6:03 Thursday morning, May 6th. It'll be sunny and cooler today. Highs in the upper 60s to low 70s. Good morning, I'm Bruce Allen.
And I'm Joan Jones. And the top local stories we're following this hour. We're beginning with team coverage of plans by local school systems to educate students beginning in the fall. And as we've been reporting, some of them have already decided to allow a very limited number of students to continue learning virtually. Most students will be back in their classrooms for 5 days a week, including in one of the region's biggest school systems.
In speaking to the Fairfax County School Board, Superintendent Scott Brabrand says of the 85,000 kids already back in the classroom part-time and keeping 3 feet of distance, only 1% have reported COVID transmission at school.
Our oldest students, 16 and older, now have access to the vaccine, and we're closely monitoring the status of vaccine access for children's ages 12 to 15.
Brabrand says it'll only offer virtual learning to kids with a documented medical need, and families must apply for the program by May 21st.
Our virtual programming for 21-22 is a 1-year only temporary response to the impacts of COVID-19.
Megan Cloherty, WTOP News.
Like Fairfax County, Prince William County is planning to bring students back to the classroom 5 days a week in the fall. A survey by the school system found 85% of parents are planning for their kids to return to full-time in-person learning. At a school board meeting last night, Superintendent Steve Waltz said families will also have a virtual option.
Of those saying they would be virtual, 45% of that remaining 15% said that having a vaccine for their student would change their preference.
Waltz says he's optimistic that a majority of students will be back in school buildings in the fall as vaccination rates increase.
About 40% of Anne Arundel County students are getting some in-person instruction right now, a higher percentage than in other parts of the region. And over the final weeks of the school year, more and more kids want to go back into their classrooms.
Anne Arundel County recently surveyed parents asking whether they wanted to stay fully virtual or have their kids in class 2 or even 4 days per week. About a third responded.
4,214 of those who were previously or are currently fully virtual have asked to be moved to 2 days per week.
Superintendent George Arlotto says on top of that,
7,473 who were virtual only have asked to move now to 4 days per week.
Over 13,600 other students also want to go from 2 days in person to 4. John Doman, WTOP News.
May is peak wedding season in the nation's capital, but we're hearing reports that some couples are changing their plans because a new order from the mayor's office says guests cannot cut loose.
Why we require seated receptions, that is because that is what the public health experts suggest is safest for us right now.
That means no standing for a cocktail or even dancing at receptions, and many bride and grooms in the area are not happy and taking their weddings to neighboring states. Venues in the district like City Winery are taking the financial hit, and owner Michael Dorff says the rules will be hard to enforce for the weddings that remain.
How do you tell the 80-year-old grandma, they hear some klezmer music and they start moving their big old tushies? Is it really up to the venue to tell them to sit down?
Dorff says he has already seen wedding cancellations for this month. Luke Lukert, WTOP News.
Still to come on WTOP, a car has crashed into an apartment building in the district, and it caused a surprising amount of damage at 607.
University of Maryland Global Campus has been a pioneer in online learning for over 20 years. So while you find creative ways to adjust to working, living, and learning at home, we'll continue to do what we do best, providing the respected, affordable state education you deserve. No application fee if you apply by May 31st. Learn about rolling admissions and more ways to save at umgc.edu. That's umgc.edu. Certified to operate in Virginia by Chev.
For the ones finding new ways to ensure the job always gets done. For the ones wearing many hats. For the ones who are hands-on, even from far away. And the ones keeping business moving forward. We are Grainger, offering supplies and solutions for every industry, with 24/7 support and experienced staff at over 250 local branches. Call, clickgrainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
May is Maytag month at Lowe's. Save on our exclusive selection of Maytag appliances with collections found only at Lowe's. Get up to $200 via prepaid card by mail on your purchase of select Maytag major appliances, a brand you know and trust. Shop in store or at Lowe's.com. Lowe's, home to any budget, home to any possibility. Manufacturer's rebate. Prepaid card amount varies based on purchase. Offer valid through 6/2. Exclusions, terms, and restrictions apply. U.S. only.